Hmm. All right, well, let's get a hype train going. You guys want to say hi to YouTube? Because they're probably going to see this like months in advance. So, hi, YouTube. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Uh, I'm sure that some of the people that are on screen at the moment commentating here, like the wonderful incognito there, Crave, or, all of these people here, uh, they'll more than likely be in the YouTube comments as well, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But with all of that said, why don't we just go ahead and jump into it? Letting you guys know in advance, I have been drinking a little bit, which makes me more prone to stopping and analyzing. So I hope that's okay with all of you. I'm pretty sure that like you guys know the way that I do things. Uh, yeah, and please follow me on Twitch. Hit that like button on YouTube. Subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. 50% of you aren't subscribed. I don't know. I'm just gonna throw out random statistics at you. And why don't we just go ahead and get started? I think that's probably the best way. You woke up super early for this. Oh, you just woke up super early in general. Well, nice to see you here. Glad you're here. Hey, green peas. All right, let's go.
しか聞けない。墓所に入り、試練を受けたことのあるわしにしか語れん話じゃからな。
Wait, what?
わしら複生体にとっての始祖、リューズメイエル。それはまだこの場所が聖域と名付けられる前のことじゃった。
Ooh, 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 whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, good place to stop real quick before we continue. There's a big debate, and I think this is important for me to point out in psychology about memories and the function of memories, right? And yes, there is an analysis time on this because this just clicks so much shit in my mind that you don't even know. You don't even know, bro. Like in psychology, there's this concept of memories and whether or not they actually pertain like who we are as an individual and as a soul, or whatever you want to combine yourself in that theory, right? Because like a lot of people base themselves off of like how do I put it? Like human beings are determined by their experiences, right? But it's sort of the memories and the trauma and the good and the bad that sort of shape our brain to function in certain ways. So it, I wonder, right? Because Ryuzu, the original Ryuzu, is in this like crystal, yeah. Or memories make. So here's the thing: memories make us who we are, while we also make memories, which is confusing as heck. But it's also one of the major studies that is happening at the moment. I believe the University of either Colorado or Connecticut are actually really looking into trying to mimic the human brain, the connectome specifically, to try and mimic consciousness in that way, right? So what happens if you put someone in a state of like vegetos, right? So like not vegetos, but like comatose, right? Um, and their memories are only pretend to a certain like distinct period. So what happens, and this is like my brain just like connected everything, if you're able to replace those memories with memories that you find to be real, or you find you're able to insert yourself as an individual. So for example, if I'm gonna pick Melancholic, right? If Melancholic on chat, right, one day woke up and she has, or they have all their memories of their past, but it's through the perspective of their sibling, would they still be Melancholic or would they be their sibling? And it's the same thing that happened in Metal Gear Solid 5, right? Which is where Naked Snake started pretending to be Big Boss, and he genuinely believed that he was Big Boss because of the memories that were implanted. And it's also hypnotic suggestion and all of these things. Yeah. So then, and that's the thing is like memories are fallible. And that's why like you heal through trauma and you heal over time as an individual, which is why, like, for example, a breakup. When you have a really bad breakup, it sucks, it hurts, it feels like your heart's been ripped out, like, like you literally can't function, you're crying, depressed, whatever it may be, right? But over time, your brain starts to twist that narrative slowly and surely, starts to find some of the faults or whatever, and literally starts to lessen the pain and soothe the pain. While the memory might still be real for you, it's been altered so that you don't feel the exact same pain. I'm not sure if that makes sense. right? Like, that's just the best way that I can throw it out there. And ReZero, just by stating this, like, like, hey, like, let's look at like her memories, all of this. I wonder if someone being a five-head individual knows even a little bit of psychology, knows a little bit about how narrative therapy specifically, which is like using the way that you tell a story works, and you're able to implant certain suggestions, if you're able to go ahead and take over a person, i.e. Betelgeuse, right? Sorry, this is me just nerding out. This is what happens when I've taken a couple of drinks. I get a little too into it. I see one little thing and I just jump it. All right, let me drink a little bit. But yeah, like that's my overall line of questioning here is like, while her memories may be presented, it's like, how much of an impact do they have? And if so, can anyone overwrite those memories and insert themselves in it? Like Liquid Snake or Revolver Ocelot did to Liquid Snake, so on and so forth, It's just really, really a big moment to look at, big moment to think about. True. Well, you can still regard trauma as a big part of your life, but the thing is, narratively, you start changing small factors in it, where it's like, for example, and and I keep throwing this all like out there just so you guys get a little bit of hint as to like what a psychologist does and how we would look at a person or an individual that's going through something like this. It's like, if someone went through a big traumatic event with an individual, right? Like the first couple of weeks, days, they may remember every single detail, like what shirt they were wearing, what cologne, what color, their eyebrow was, what color their like jewelry was, or so on and so forth. As time changes, what you'll start to notice is that they no longer remember that they had bracelets on. They'll no longer the fact that like their shirt was black. What they'll remember are the certain actions that caused it. But those in betweens, those little gaps can actually change a lot in the story. And it's the same thing with friendships and so on and so forth, which is why, and I guess I'll throw this out there, you'll find that a lot of people, like people that are very, like sociopaths, narcissistics, will try and embed themselves in those like details, right? Because the more that they embed themselves in the details and the more that they embed themselves in you, the more important they are in your life and the more important that you think that they are to you. And that is exactly why you need to be careful about certain situations like that. Yeah, so that they can easily reinforce themselves. And that's the scary part. And now looking at Echidna, and this is where I'm wrapping it around. Sorry, guys. That took a long detour. I'm just trying to make sure that we're all in the same place so that we can get to the end together. Looking at Echidna, what Echidna, right, who so solemnly did a microwave scene with Subaru, fuck around with the details just to find out. I think she would. I don't think anybody else. Well, Roswell maybe, but I don't see him as big brained as a kid. So, anyway, sorry guys. I just saw that and it just like sparked the whole debate inside of my brain, and y'all were just here. Let's go. Wait. Oh, they knew each other? Oh, this is adorable. Oh, how fucked up is it now that I think about it? Every single person Echidna has like come into contact then has been fucked up in some way, like major way, shape, or form, right? Because this girl got all crystallized. You have Roswell like like clowning around, and then you have like quite literally like Beako just stuck in her library. So, oof, talk about like you may have been knowledgeable, but you sure did as hell didn't know how to like maintain your people. Yeah, just clowning. Oh. Oh, coming from you, that's fucking rich. A plus. This is the same like line of dialogue that she sort of gives out to Subaru, and like I don't know. It's like, are you lonely? If you're lonely, just say you're lonely, yo. Get a friend. You need a hug? I'm pretty sure anyone in chat will give you a hug. Just ask. Like, the more that you like repel people out, the more of the insecurities that pop out. And I think this is constant throughout Beako's journey, right? As yeah, no, well, I mean, you can classify her as a tsundere, right? But like, here's the best way I can put it, right? If you feel insecure about where you stand in your relationship with the parental figure, this is how you'll act out. This is how you'll start like pushing people away or pushing people in or close because you never know how long they're going to be there in your life. And that's a scary thing to think about now that we see how, she was waiting for someone to actually be the chosen one in the library scene. Like, that's and it's an avoidant attachment, yeah, and it can be an ambivalent attachment as well, which is a mixture of either or, right? Which is like she's anxious when people actually come into her life and force themselves into her life of them leaving, but she also doesn't want to go ahead and attach herself to them, but yet she doesn't have a choice because she's anxious about people leaving her life. So that's what I would call an ambivalent attachment, which is like not one or the other completely, but it can switch rapidly from one side to the other, So I don't know. It's just a lot to take in, and it sucks. Like I don't know. It's rich, a lot of the comments that our kid is making, but at the same time, I just feel bad for Byakuo. That's sad. Aww. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is a good reflection of the ambivalent attachment. She follows her and then tries to state otherwise. It's great. Oh. 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 Their interactions are adorable, but now it pushes me to think, like, would she ever have this type of relationship with another individual, Because, and it's really saddening. This is why my heart just, like, sunk a little bit. It's like, imagine waiting, because, like, even, like, for a year of, like, isolation can be a lot for some people. But now imagine, like, 20 years, 100 years, 400 years, 600 years, however many years it is. Like, day after day, now that I'm thinking about it, like, watching a door open and trying to see if maybe they'll actually become something akin to a friend, and then just watching them shut that door again. Or only being there and, like, I don't know how else to put it, being there only for convenience or because of, like, they're the owners of the property or whatever, and you're sort of the bothersome individual that's there. How must that hurt? How would a person like how would a person logically function and actually be even okay to try and make relationships or attachments, And that's something that I'm thinking about, going into like even a year of isolation, 2 years of isolation. And if you go back out into society and you try and make friends, you'll see that like you're a little rough, not just a little rough, you're hella rough. So now, like from her perspective, I just can't put myself in her shoes. That must suck. That must really, really suck. And especially seeing someone, someone like Subaru come into the picture and be as energetic and as excited, and only one track to Amelia, and it's like we can genuinely be friends, we can genuinely get along, but you're not willing to empathize on a certain level with me. And that must be rough. I don't think anyone wants to. No, I agree with you. I don't think any person, and that's the thing, is like I'm pretty sure a majority of people in isolation, like, also, if you're stuck in a library where you can only read the same books, like, yeah, books are fun for a certain period of time, but like, if you've already gone through them, like, let's be real. It's like if you only had a set Netflix selection and you've already gone through everything. Like, that would be rough. Oh, or like, not even like a set anime thing. Like, yeah, it just, oof. Not to mention for humans, at least, your brain starts to deteriorate. Like, you can no longer start forming good memories, forming good functions around 80 or 90. Sometimes late 70s. So That would be rough, especially because people would come in and you'd probably be like, what? The entire time, so. Excuse me? Ugh. Where's my trash can? Ugh.
正確には何代か前のロズワール様ね。それにしてもベアトリス様は変わらないわね。
俺様は魔女の方が気になんない。ここが強欲の魔女の実験場ってのは知って。
All right, guys. Real question. Actually, I'll keep a tab on it. My brain just like fluttered and it like created like two distinct thoughts, chain thoughts. And I guess I'll wait and I'll see if it explains itself. If not, I'll go ahead and ask it later on. Just remind me, guys. Back to the real business. Creep, dude.
私の指示によるものですよ。
What the fuck? What?
どうされましたか？ロマネコンティ司教。
Yo, I almost choked on my soda for this. What? What is...
コルニアス司教。彼も混乱しているのです。あまり責めることのないように。
Who the fuck is she?
さあ、鍵と封印をここに。
What the fuck is this?
その本会を成就させるために。
No! No! No, guys, no! Fuck me, mate! No! But I was talking about Pandora's box. I didn't mean it literally. I did not mean it literally. Oh shit! Oh, my brain! Y'all are fucking killing me! Oh god! Oh, it's not over. Oh, oh no. Okay, that fucked me up good. I was talking about the Greek story because it pertained to sins. I didn't like. All right. Yes. Oh my god, dude. F in the chat, dude. We all know where this is going. He's too OP. Oh, and nothing happened to Pandora. Of course, because the only thing that can beat Pandora and Legend is hope. Or was it like closing the box or some shit? I forget. This is wild. No, not necessarily. Oh my god, dude. Wait, what the fuck? Since you were entrusted with it. Pandora literally telling you to open this fucking box. Don't you fucking dare. Don't. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, if the arch, okay, if it's a witch power, technically, yeah. If the witch authority was given to him by Flugel, and the other archbishop recognized it, then did at some point in time Flugel hold all these authorities and literally gave them to specific people in mind? This is some fucked up shit. This is some no, sussy Flugel. This is some like next level stuff. Pandora is literally like I don't know how else to put it. Like the best way that I can put, like, I'm shaking right now because one, a lot of the shit that I said was literally off of pure coincidence and like the psychology of the characters. And now seeing it come to life, I'm a bit fucking terrified. I'm a bit scared because the author literally had to sit down and like think things like layered through 8 or 9 times in such a way that it like, I think it would be interesting and challenging to like analyze like sort of the depthness of where he goes, right? So back to Flugel. If Flugel at one point contained all of these boxes and gave them away, why? Why the fuck would someone do this? And my next point is this. If now we know that the witches aren't directly related to going ahead and giving them the power, and we see that fucking Pandora is another 5D player that just survived an all-out attack and just stayed there like nothing, was Echidna? This is my next thing. Was Echidna purposefully killed, or did something not go according to plan? And is she just waiting for her escape, reincarnation, or something like that? I.e., give the enemy time to rise to power, see their flaws in however many years, then you're able to actually come up with decent, like, gateways, holes, whatever, see some of the flaws in the way that they're operating and start taking them down. Because if you take them down during this peak of action, during this peak moment where they're rising and they have all this momentum on their side, and you try and fight back against that, you're more than likely going to lose. And especially if it's a new force, a new threat, a new action that you're not adjusted to. And also, who the fuck is Pandora? That is my next key moment. And sorry, guys, my brain's going all over the place because this is like Super Smash Bros. Like everyone is here. Thanos snapping his fingers moment. Like, keep on watching. Okay, I will. But I have a lot more to add on. And, like... Wait a minute. Is it necessarily one witch power per person per... I'm not sure if this makes sense. Now that I'm thinking about it, is it one witch power per person? Or, just hear me out here. Especially for Gluttony, yeah? She made 3 distinct beings. So for individuals that are able to differentiate separate powers like that, or separate abilities like that, what is it, like the rabbits? Yeah, those creepy motherfuckers. Uruboru's man from Resident Evil, the snake, and then it was a great whale. Would you be able to separate your powers into 3 distinct beings like this and then give them separate abilities accordingly? Same thing with like the Witch of Greed or the Witch of whatever. Would that be ability still work if you had... I mean, Subaru does have 2, I guess, at this point, right? But that's my train of thought is like, but would they still like register under one witch? And if that case, that's insanely dangerous. Because now, what if the other countries around them actually start benefiting and start working directly with this individual, with these individuals to try and get some stuff to go along in their favor? I'm not sure if that makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense. That's just the best way I can think about it. Yeah, apparently, but let's watch. Oh, get owned, dude. Still not gonna do anything to you, I bet. what's interesting, and I hate to point this out, but Amelia's not there. So how is this a part of her memories? If Amelia ran away with Mother Fortuna, how is this a part of her memories? This would come. Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. It's like this would literally come from the kidnap. But then again, what is she showing us? Like, it can be. Here's my thing: is like even if it's a simulation of whatever happened, she remember if you have an environment in which you can control the minor details, you can also control a lot of the narrative. So this is yeah. She's all crying too. Oh no. The Witch of Vanity. Are these bitches even following the right witch? The Witch of Vanity? What the? Okay, so she is a 5D player. It inserts perfectly into one of the big narratives that I had, which is this other person with the powers, probably stronger than the majority of the witches, came through, started influencing certain events like this, and started going ahead and like using the witch's name to create atrocities, and thus spreading the fear that the witch was actually an evil person. Here's my thing, though. Since taking this power, since taking this sloth power, has his mind gone dark? And if so, if the Witch of Envy had all the other witches eaten up. Well, no. Even if he was incompatible. For example, Regulus is not normal. Rye, whatever his name is, not normal. Whatever it was. I forgot what it was. What was it? The dude with the teeth. Right, there you go. Dude with the teeth. I like how you guys know what I'm talking about. Not normal. A majority of these individuals, like in terms of their mindset, are completely set in that one emotion or set that they have. So therefore, if the witch did rampage, if she rampaged for whatever reason, say that this Witch of Vanity, Witch of whatever, right, whatever it is. But like, if this Witch of Vanity decided to go ahead and like show up at any point, start a war, whatever it may be, and Satala was like, hey, you know what? I have to go ahead and do this before she does it and literally destroys the world, because Pandora destroys the world in Greek mythology, right? Until hope comes out. That's why all the darkness and evil and like, I don't know how else to put it, like the horrible stuff comes out. But again, with that, if she took all of that, maybe this is where the split personality comes from, because with Geese, Pedal Geese, whatever, he also has that, and we're clearly seeing that right now. This is where like sort of the second major thing also pops up, which is like for Betelgeuse, he's like love, and yet he's completely acting out in a different way. For Satala, like one of them's like fixated on this individual, and the other one's telling him, hey, practice some self-care, yo, be careful, be safe, so on and so forth. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but if that is the case, and Flugel was there during this time, and Flugel sealed her up, even if it was through her own domain, with all of these abilities, including himself and what hope he used to seal her up, then this gives even more credence to the whole thought that since people are going around and using these abilities or being given these abilities or been told to use it, like I don't know how else to put it other than like, I feel like Flugel plays such a big important role into all of this. Specifically, how did he have these boxes? Where did he give them out? Why? What time? And what dimension? And my biggest thing, and now that this is all connecting for me, and like my brain is literally like heating up to the point where I might have a nosebleed on stream. If Subaru, for whatever reason, and y'all know I'm watching this with you one episode at a time, if he, whatever reason is related to, seems like, smells like, even if they don't like, you know, even if Flugel's still alive, because apparently these beings can still live around this time, but they don't like each other, or there's still some sort of connection between the two. I wonder if by chance of holding these boxes, these sins, this witch factor, the only thing you have left was like the hope for the future to try and destroy it. Because that's sort of what ends up happening to a majority of these people and a majority of these war stories. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and keep going. I don't even know what I missed in chat. I just got into my own little rant. Ooh. Oh, shut the fuck up, dude. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting. What's hitting me about this means that he can't be killed by conventional means. So my biggest thing with that is like, if he literally twisted his neck and he came back, granted we've seen like Betelgeuse do the same thing, but like if for whatever reason, like say that like he was able to use his hands, grab him, like tear him to shreds, and like if he was still able to come back, then as like a psychologist, right, noticing this, and I would think that the real way to destroy this individual is not destroying the image that is being portrayed up front, but trying to find sort of the location or the individuals or whatever it may be, especially if you tie yourself to individuals or people or items or, you know, Voldemort type thing, you know? Because if you're able to tear someone apart, if you're able to twist their neck, if you're able to do whatever, and like they die, cool. Then you know that like that was it. It was just their power. But if you destroy them, if you go ahead and like rip them to shreds and they like come back together, then logically speaking, you can make this assumption, right? You can logically make two things. Either one, you could assume that it's Pandora's power that is able to go ahead and reconstitute him right there and then, in which case he will not be able to die because she's like a 5D player. Or number two, going after the physical body has no means of actually destroying this individual. So then something around them, journal, book, person, thing, whatever it is, will more than likely have the key to destroying this individual. Now comes the third part. What is the range on this, right? So the way that you can test this is like either it has infinite range or it gains more power the more like things that it has that grounds them to Earth, or it doesn't, right? Sorry, this is like tinfoil hat moment, right? But like if I was facing them, this is the three things that would come to mind, right? So I just twisted this guy's neck. He came back. Next attack I'm gonna try and do is try and go underneath, try and go on top, and try to tear him to shreds. If he comes back after that, get some distance, because clearly this physical body is not gonna go ahead and take any damage from anything I'm doing, and try and see what the range in his motions are. Yeah, you could try and throw him into space or something like that, right? But that's the thing is like if he's still able to come back, if he's able to maintain himself in whatever shape, like form or way, then you know that there's something that's grounding him to this location. Aside from Pandora, right? Because like you can test it out by going ahead and getting rid of Pandora, even if it's for a millisecond, then trying to get rid of him. So, what is the range of the enemy stand? In this case, we don't know. But let's find out.
議論の余地はあるけどね。だったら黙って見てたらいいじゃない。
We're barely 14 minutes in and I've already talked for like an hour. Fuck. Oh. Oh no. Hello, depression. Yeah, this is rough.
村のみんなは無事なの。封印でしょうね。どこで聞きつけてきたのか。あの女まで。いいわ。とにかく私が出る。いいえ、俺たちが戦います。フォルトナ様はエミリアを連れて森の外へ。ここで逃げてどうなるというの。
Thinking back on it now, I never heard it being called the Witch of Envy's cult, just the Witch's cult. Which could that just be simplified for the Witch of Vanity's cult in that sense? Sorry, guys. I was just thinking that through, and it's like, because the entire time we hear the Witch's cult, the Witch's cult, the Witch's cult, this, and that, you know, but clearly if it's like Pandora that's leading all this shit, and doing it in the Witch's name, then you go ahead and, well, yeah, no, the Witch's cult, you can simp for envy, but that's the thing is, like, think about, like, literally narratively. As an individual with power, if you come into contact with something, you want to go ahead and, one, keep your actions as hidden as possible. You're going to use someone else's name. So you can say that it is based on, like, the Witch of Envy as their forefront thing, but in reality, it's being led by a completely different person. It's being, like, the actions and the corrections of that are being, I don't know how to put it, like, poisoned by the ideology of what the truth is, which is, of course, shifted by the victors. But yeah, this is sad, especially for her. Now it kind of makes me wonder. Now it kind of makes me wonder if, I don't know how to put it. If, oh no, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up and watch this.
どうかエミリアを連れて行って。生きづらい世界だけど、きっと希望はある。必ずあるから。そんな、俺は最後までみんなと。エミリアを。
Bro, you take her and you run. Like, you don't question this. Ouch.
あなたは一人なんかじゃないわ。母様はいつだってあなたのそばにいる。目をつむって浮かぶあなたの思い出の中に。
Oh, that's sad because she forgot a lot of her memories. Oh, that just hurt my heart even more.
ずっと
Oh.
母様はあなたと一緒。ずっとずっといつまでも一緒。そのことを今約束するわ。本当に一緒にいてくれる？
Oh, please don't tell me that she turned into like a spirit and like, you know, she dies, turns into a spirit contracted by Echidna or something like that. Please don't. No. My brain just goes dark instantly. No. Oh. Adorable. Sad, but adorable. Oh shit, she Naruto running too. Excuse? Oh no. It's that fucking snake, isn't it? Bro, I'm sorry to say this, but you ain't making it out of here. We've seen frozen bonds. Oh. Oh, that thing still eats you even while... Archie more like Achilles' heel because that shit got him good. Damn. F in the chats for Archie here. Yeah, please. What if? If this black serpent can be controlled. Yeah, he went down like a Chad, but hear me out. Why would you send them after the person? They were after the seal, I'm guessing. Never mind. I was about to say, what if they were able to go ahead and just like corrupt them? It's not so much like killing them, but just corrupting them. And like in the future, he just pops up again, but evil. I'm kidding. I don't know, dude. That would just be a sick twist of events there. It's his first time, yeah. Oh, here we go, monologue time. Jesus. Yo, bro, you do not talk back to a 5D player. Oh. Oh, shit. Literally dusted. Wow, okay. Then maybe I was wrong. Damn. Okay. Yeah, now I'm kind of... Oh, dude. Bro. Oh! Oh! Fuck. Talk about fear. Holy shit! Did she just literally push him out of like existence for a second? Just like, nope, he's not here. He's with his wife in his mansion. Like, here's what I'm getting, right? This is so hard because she does fit the role for one of the 5D players that I have in mind. There's also one other 5D player that like still hasn't shown up for whatever reason. Maybe it's in future things, but she fits perfectly the role of one of those 5D players. Even if it's like, you know, my big thing is like when she's talking, the way that like her tone or apathy or the, you know, tonality, the way that she like wants to view certain emotions, devotions, things like this, it almost makes you wonder if Pandora herself only gets excited when seeing these strong emotions, right? So like, what would happen if she had all of these factors inside of herself? And you can be like, oh, well, you know what, she couldn't, right? But like, just looking back at like the way that she reacted to every single strong emotion or devotion that was happening with Betelgeuse, especially when Fortuna came back, and that whole thing, it just, or when like he devoted himself to opening up the box, when like she wanted to go ahead and see what would happen with Fortuna there, and all of this, like the emotions that sprung out of her, even if it's like a tear and stuff like that, it's like she's literally feeling. A lot of people like that. A lot of people that are like not toneless, have issues with emotions, regulating emotions, and get like, I don't know how to put it, like at least in counseling with some of the kids that I counsel, when they see that other people have strong emotions and they get excited about seeing those emotions, even though they themselves can't portray those emotions completely. What they've told me is the realization that you yourself can portray these emotions, right, is almost overwhelming and overcoming. So if you're able to distance yourself and see others portray certain emotions, certain factors, certain things, you're able to go ahead and process things from afar. It's a very calculated, very distinct thing. It's essentially like, I'm going to put up a barrier and I'm going to watch you go through this. Because that's an emotion that I kind of want to see, that I kind of want to experience and feel. And you're like, wait, but doesn't everyone feel emotions? Yes, we all feel emotions, but we all feel emotions differently. And that's sort of what I'm getting at. It's like, I wonder how she feels emotions. And I wonder what it would do to her if she actually managed to go ahead and feel something. Here's my next big thing is like, in the absence of despair, and you can even say like, yeah, in the absence of like, you know, of a being that's able to go ahead and, you can even say, rewrite history, you know, go back a couple seconds, whatever it may be. A person like this, and I'm letting you guys know this just because I'm not using a client's name. It's been over 5 years since like I've talked to them. But what ended up changing them, what ended up actually derailing them from a very narcissistic path, was the fact that they actually managed to find some hope in not just themselves, but in the future that they were working towards. Very similar to the way that Pandora acted, very similar in the way that, like, you know, for example, he would get excited when his brother was angry because he wanted to see what this anger could lead to. Oh, there's anger that could probably lead to something bigger than that. Let's see, if I just stir the pot a little bit more, just put up these barriers and watch from the side, where does this go? Why does this go? You know? And now looking in, you know, he kept going like this all the way until he was in his late teens. And he managed to go ahead and find someone that actually made him introspect. And it completely changed him. It changed the way he thought. And it destroyed the image that he had portrayed for so long of a distant individual. And it's usually someone that's been harmed by trauma, that has some sort of trauma, some sort of thing that they're able to go ahead and regulate this, or they're on the spectrum. A lot of people that are on the spectrum are easily able to mask and are easily able to go ahead and distance themselves in some situations like this. So I'm just wondering, especially with disassociation, for those of you that are wondering what the word is, I am just wondering, what is her backstory? No, if I get even just a slice of that, that just connects so many dots and so many things, which is wonderful. You're not going to do anything. She just wants to feel and hear and experience this. What this just reminded me of, and I hate to like push this out there, right? Especially with the whole idea of like, maybe he was never there to begin with. There's this really, really phenomenal book called Blind Sight, I believe, by Peter Vods, right? And it talks about, how do we know that other intelligent beings don't live aside from us already, and we just can't directly interact with them? I.e., what if their frequency, or the way that they're vibrating, or whatever, is to a certain point that they literally phase right through our perceptual understanding of normality, right? And it's the same thing based off of the functions of this. It's like, what is intelligence? What is used in this sense of the word, right? And is someone strong enough to understand that the human mind can only process so much information, right? So it's sort of like the phantom pain. If you guys don't know what that is, it's usually individuals that lose a body part can genuinely still feel pain perceived. Like, for example, if I lost my arm, they would still be able to feel the pain that's associated with that, even though they don't have it there. Because the mind is a very, very powerful thing that, if used correctly, or if used in certain ways, can produce some phenomenal results. So I wonder if this whole power of, like, I don't know how to put it, the power of like just rewriting history or whatever it may be, may actually come from this individual being a being that's further from our understanding of like normal witches and normal people like of this world that we have been developed so far. You could even say, like, what if she's from the future and came to the past, or even vice versa, from the past and went into the future? Talking about Metal Gear Solid 5. No, I'm just talking about it in general, like Phantom Pain, because it's a very serious like topic that a lot of people go through. But the reason why I bring this up is simple, right? Because if someone's able to go ahead and like overwrite key moments or overwrite like situations like this, and what if all along, if they're this powerful, they're able to go ahead and be with you along the journey and just keep bringing you back and back and back every single time. And by this, it's simply explaining, like, what if throughout this whole journey, if she's smart enough, if she's able to like do certain things, what if she was just right next to Subaru and she's the one that's like starting to restart everything, just because she wants to see certain things happen? There's no way that he would know. If she didn't want to show herself, we've clearly seen this being go ahead and pop herself up. Or maybe she's too busy trying to like do other things all around the country or like different countries or whatever it may be happening. But my thing is, like, when you're dealing with the 5D being like this, you're dealing with the possibilities that they have gone forward and back and exercised every single opportunity. And the only thing that excites them is the unexpected. So the best way that I can put it is like Subaru at the moment is probably one of the biggest unexpected pieces. It's a pawn that just can never die and just keeps going forward and is trying to promote himself up to a knight, up to something, right? But while he's playing this in this one chessboard, you have Echidna in another, you have Pandora in another, you have apparently Flugel in another, and now, did Flugel have any students? Did Flugel have anybody he loved? Did Flugel, you could ask a whole different things, and you have separate board games all playing. And all of these are just different things that are just straining down on our main characters. And that is insane to think about. Knight and not a queen. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying is you'd probably pull like a grandmaster move of not going directly for a queen, but going for a knight or going for something like that. But that's my point is like, there's so many board games that are happening that, like, for example, Flugel can literally be playing against Echidna, and Echidna can be playing against Pandora, and Pandora can be playing against, let's say, another witch or another mage, warlock, whatever it may be. And all of these things are all interplaying. But yet in the normal board that we see, we literally just see Subaru taking on all the devastation and all the pieces that are falling down onto this board. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let's see if there's anything else real quick before I even say anything. Oh, there's more. Oh, shit. I thought that was the end. Oh, no. Please don't. I feel like my brain is gonna pop. That's insane. Oh. It's gosh. So she can be everywhere at once. This is a 5D bean. Yeah. It's interesting to note that the area around the seal is always like in snow and shit. And I always just thought, like, I assumed that it was essentially like the mana, whatever, that's being given off that only like pertains to that area. I don't know if that makes sense. Just because I was like, oh, okay, there's snow there. Like, it was always like a logical assumption that I make based off of that. But I wonder what you guys think. What do you guys think about the snow that's there? It's just like, everywhere else it's green, it's like leafy, and then bloop, there's just snow in that one area. So, yeah, and for her overwriting everything, I'm assuming she already finished her battle, like the other place, or she can go ahead and split herself off into two different. Oh, whatever it is, even if it's not snow, even if it's like the tears and blood of other individuals or mana or whatever it is, That's my point. It's like, what do you guys think about that? Never mind. I shouldn't even be asking you guys that because you already know what it is. Could be. My big thing is like I don't think that there's only one seal, if that makes sense. Like, if I were to be responsible, I'd probably put a bunch of different seals to unlock everything, like as far away as I possibly could. Like, I don't know what else to do, right? Like, if you have one there, I'd probably put one in like a long lost forgotten building out in the middle of like nowhere where you have to go through like sand and the terrain and then face off against like I don't know, some of the best knights and some of the best people out there in order to reach it. And then like throw the other one on the other side of the world or something like that. You know, because you don't want to make it too easy for someone to just go ahead and unlock this. But yeah, well. Anyway. Okay, I might need to take a quick breather before we move on to the next one because that was a lot to take in, and my brain's also like on overload at the moment. So, how are you guys doing? You guys holding up okay? It's also another 30 minutes. Damn. All right. You guys holding up okay? Yay, nay. Great discussion. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this chat. This episode breakdown. That was scary. I gotta be honest. Yeah. I gotta be honest. Like a lot of the like, it still blows my mind the fact that it was Pandora. That's that's one in a lifetime thing where it just happens and it lines up perfectly. But I feel like now the author must have really like dug in deep to different forms of like psychology and literature and whatnot in order to go ahead and create these characters, you know? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, let me see if I can just give me like a couple minutes just to quickly like digress down, chill out for a second. Yeah, because that can be heavy. This is gonna be the next one, the last one for today. Just because I'm exhausted. I went to a birthday party, dinner type thing, and I've had a couple of drinks in me, which quickly went away after I found out that Pandora is Pandora. So yeah, talk about I guess waking up quickly, yeah. But good of you to join us. Do I know anything about the seven sins in Christian theology? I mean, if you're talking about Dante's Inferno and specifically like the Nine Rings of Hell, which pertains because it wasn't originally seven sins, there were more sins than just seven sins. A long time, like especially as we progress down like to more modern times, we actually just started like categorizing them to just seven. But yes, I did go ahead and study quite a bit about like sort of the sins and their affect, especially if you're ever going to do psychology. And you know that, like, for example, Christianity is a big practice in a majority of the world, and people tend to hold either Catholicism or Christianity views, specifically with these sins in terms of as how they relate to one another, or how they, like, you know, for example, oh, I'm being greedy, and I feel like this is impacting the way that I communicate with people, or the way that I display certain things. Vainglory was together with Pride, if I remember correctly. I am probably going to bust out my book, but I thought, how do I put it? I thought the fraction, because there's Pride, and then there's, especially in the Circles of Hell, sorry, if we're going into the discussion, I thought there was like special sections, especially like depending on the actions that you did in that section of Pride. So I'll have to look into it and get more ideas off of that. Because yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting to say. So, whew. All right, I think I'm getting there. But anyway, if you guys have any other psychology questions or anything like that, please let me know. So I think that's 1200s. Yeah, something like that. Well, my whole thing is like, even with Pandora's box, yeah, because like you don't even have to go that far. Like the original, like telling of that, where it's like all this evil and whatever, like leaked out of it. You can also, with that perchance, say that, you know, I don't know how to put it. I guess the one thing that it's portraying right is like the child's not innocence, but curiosity, right? Because especially with the way Pandora is being portrayed at the moment, it's as though she's just very curious to see how things are going to happen with the things that have come out of her box, if that makes any sense. So, yeah. But, sorry. Trying to cool down because that was a lot. That was a lot to take in. Great summer. Are you doing okay? Hopefully you are. Right? Reverse it and invert it. Yeah. Wait, I thought I couldn't watch the OP because it has spoilers. I thought that was one of the big. But that is a good question. That's a that's a good like. Yeah, OP is full of spoilers. No OP. Yep. That is a really good question. I guess the other question I would throw on to you guys is if you guys had a sibling that detached himself from his emotions and the way that you've seen Pandora act, what would you do to try and ground him? I.e., what would you do to try and keep him from disassociating like that? So I'll throw that out to you guys, and I kind of want to know your guys' answers for that. I feel like I can't participate on this one because I do know the answers. But that's why I throw it out to you guys. What would you do if a family member or a sibling was reacting or acting the way that Pandora is, and you needed to ground, like, bring him back into the here and now? Yeet. You'd flee. Okay. Or you don't even have to say like a sibling. What if it's like you're someone that you're in a relationship with, someone that you care about? You know, there's a lot of different areas that you could hit on this. It's just how would you try to go ahead and have a conversation with people like this, or bring them into this reality? Wow. That's actually a pretty good approach. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people are afraid of feeling feelings, so shock them. I mean, well, if you shock them and they punch you, is that justified? So what I would do, and this is, I think, a lot of therapists would like advice for family members and whatnot, in case you ever find anyone disassociating or anything like that, try to educate them. Uh, that would work for a narcissistic person. They might take it very bad and try and push back on it. But with people that are building up boundaries and whatnot on feelings, have them explain a feeling to you. It is one of the most interesting things, and even for like normal people, it's hard. It is really hard. Like if someone explains to you what is happiness, right? You're like, the fuck kind of question is that? But yeah, if you're like, what makes you happy? If they're like nothing, it's like, oh well, when I see you playing video games, I see that you cheer up a little bit, or when I'm angry, I see you like lighten up a little bit and want me to like be even more angry. Why is that? And if they're like, oh, it's because like, I'm curious to see where it goes. Oh, so then you're like, curiosity brings out a lot from you. Why, why does that specifically make you curious? Just go down this like chain of thought. It doesn't matter what they say, just latch onto some keywords, especially where they're heading towards with their emotion. And at the end, just bring it back to like, so then you do feel certain amounts of happiness. Why is that? Like, how is that for you? Especially if at the beginning they're saying, I don't feel anything. And at the end, you're like, but you are saying that you actually feel stuff. Even if you're like out front, you're saying, I don't feel anything. You're showing, in our conversation, that you quite literally do. So it's a good way of like circle talking it. Like a lot of people get annoyed at therapists when they do this, which is like we start at point A and then like when we like loop back around, your whole conversation has just shifted like 180 degrees, and it's like, wait a minute, but I do, like, if you come into therapy and you're like, I don't have issues, and at the end you're like, well, maybe I do have issues like with communication and whatnot. It's just using this form of questioning, open-ended questions, Socratic questioning. Why? How? When? How does this make you feel? Why? It grounds people to the here and now. Although if they're too far gone, if you're ever with someone that's just completely disassociated for whatever reason, you're talking to them and their eyes are just blank or anything like that, you can startle them to try and bring them back. That's one avenue I've seen a lot of people do. But there's a grounding technique for. Oh no, GC! Oh no, there's a grounding technique that you can use that helps if you have anxiety. First off, let me bring my microphone up here. If you have any form of anxiety, if you're having trouble sleeping at night, if you're out in public and you're having an anxious like moment, panic attack, whatever it may be, this is the grounding technique that helps a lot of people out. 5 things. That's only 5 things that you got to do, and you can do them anywhere. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. In whatever order you want to rearrange those senses in, as long as it's a countdown from 5 to 1, it will more than likely help you stay grounded and like release the tension of that anxiety. So 1 thing you can yeet, apparently. But anyway, I hope that helps. At least you guys are getting a lesson out of that.